It's time to explore the great indoors.
Pirates ahead, all hands on deck and ready the cannons.
Where imagination has no boundaries.
And then the princess rode the dragon.
And fun is limitless.
Captain, we're ready for liftoff.
Explore the great indoors with Eagle Communications, with TV and internet starting at $84.99 for 2 years.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for joining us, and as always, thanks to our editor, producer, and behind the camera, Brandon Cooley from Eagle Community Television. We're in our studios today talking with Holy Family Elementary music teacher and children's singer, songwriter, Randy Sauer. First of all, let's begin with the congratulations on your award.
Thank you,
Big
Mike.
news, Randy. Tell us about it, would you?
Well, I just recently received first and second place in the Dallas Songwriters Association Songwriting Contest in the children's category, and I was very excited about that. This is my 5th year of entering that contest, and I think this contest has been around 27 years, and it's a pretty good songwriting contest. The first 3 years I received 3rd place each year, and then last year I moved up with 2nd place with my song Cool to Be Kind, and then this year I got both 1st and 2nd place. First place was Tambourine Star, and 2nd place was Muddin' in a Truck.
Well, I got to tell you how creative this guy is. He entered 2 songs, 1st and 2nd place for the 2 songs he entered with this competition that's been around a long, long time. So indeed, congratulations on your
Appreciate
work. Also, as part of what you've been doing with children's music education, October 14th of this year, the Children's Music Network had its 30th annual event, an international conference in Massachusetts to which you attended. Tell us a little about this Children's Music Network, would you, and show us that little pamphlet that came with the program.
Well, this is the program from the Children's Music Network. It's a organization comprised of music teachers, music performers, people that just do present workshops, and so it's a wide range of musicians in all different areas that attend these workshops and are part of the Children's Music Network. So I was really excited to go there and present my program there.
What's its purpose? What's the idea behind the Children's Music Network, Randy?
Well, it was actually started out as the People's Music Network many years ago, and it was kind of a grassroots organization that promoted music. And out of that group, there was a lot of people that were just focused into the children's music. Mm-hmm. And so they decided that it would be nice to have another group come off of that, and they called it the Children's Music Network. And they really support and promote children's music, along with performing, but also education and all the different areas that children would enjoy music.
One of those areas was something that you were involved in, was the masterclass presentation. How were you chosen to present a presentation there, Randy?
We had to submit a proposal of what our workshop would entail, what it would be about, and then there was a group of reviewers that would review all the entries, and they said this year there was quite a few entries that were submitted, and so I was real excited to be one of the people they had selected to give a master class.
Part of this class was 5 levels of activities. Talk a bit about that, Randy.
Well, this is a program that I developed called Rhythm Cups, and it's been kind of a process that I've been working on for the last 2 or 3 years, and I wanted to work on teaching kids how to use rhythms better, how to read rhythms better, as well as be creative. And so I came up with this idea to put rhythms stickers on the cups that had one measure rhythms, and because the kids like using cups to play rhythms back. And so I came up with these cups and came up with 5 different levels of rhythm, with the first level being pretty easy up to the 5th level being more difficult with rhythms. And then the different activities that you can do with those different cups are ways that they can put together their own rhythms. Some of the activities are ways to create their own compositions. And so, and then I have another part that I developed this past summer called Rhythm Karate, where it keeps track of how well they're doing and progressing on those rhythms from one level to the other. The nice thing is that you can keep this going from one grade level to the next. So maybe in third grade, Johnny's passed levels 1, 2, and 3, but he's still working on 4, you know, and some of the other kids maybe have progressed to number 4, so they can keep continuing on at their own pace, and it gives me a way to assess and see how well they're doing on their rhythms.
Well, and they have an opportunity for creativity as well as some pre-programmed ideas, right, Randy?
Yes. And in fact, last year at my spring concert at Holy Family, the kids used some of the rhythms from the rhythm cups, and they created their own rhythms to perform at a concert. So we took those and they put those in different orders. The different there's 6 rhythms in each level, and so they used rhythms from those different levels, put together their own song. They were divided into 2 groups, and then they came up with what instruments they wanted to use to perform these rhythms. We ended up using buckets to perform most of them, I think. But then I divided them into 2 groups, and we made a 2-part song. So Group A would play, Group B would play, and then we would put the 2 rhythms together and create kind of a partner song with rhythms. And then they had some ownership into some of the songs we were performing, and they thought that was pretty fun.
Well, yeah. What kid doesn't enjoy banging on pans or pots in the kitchen or with buckets and so forth, making their own music, basically?
The buckets and cups are a lot of fun. In fact, some of my most popular songs that I sell are the bucket songs and cup songs.
While we're on that, get those 2 discs that you have available for the public. Parents really like this. Let's start with the CD first.
This is the CD called Be Kind. This is one of the things I focus on when I go out and do my live shows, and I focus on being kind to each other and promoting just a goodwill to each other, you know. And the Be Kind song is the title song, and it's Be Kind, You Can't Rewind. And that's what I wear in my shirts, and the front shirt says Be Kind, the back of my shirt says You Can't Rewind. And so you can't go back and take away the actions you had. This song won the 2016 Seal of Excellence Award from the Creative Child magazine, and then there's like 4 or 5 of the songs that have won multiple awards from the CD, so it's done quite well for me, and I'm real proud of it.
This is on your website, available for folks to get, right,
Yes,
Randy?
it's available. You can go to my website and check it out. It's also available like on Amazon and iTunes.
Oh, okay. RandySauer.com?
Jamandrandy.com.
Jamandrandy.com.
Yes.
Okay. And the DVD, talk about that for just a minute as well. Another creative ability.
Yeah, I did this DVD because I had some fun songs that I put together. One of them was driving a monster truck, because I know all kids like to drive trucks and pretend they're driving trucks anyway, and maybe ride in with their dads or their grandparents. And so I got together with some Mark Lindenberger here in town that has his monster truck, and we recorded a video driving a monster truck, and then we went out on the fairgrounds and over the fair time and drove around in the monster truck and put together a little video for it, and it was a lot of fun. And there's a lot of other active type songs on here. There's also some videos of educational things with the rhythms and stuff like that.
There's a message in the music, isn't there, Randy?
Yes, yes. I always, in my music, I try to have some type of action message or something to, to help kids along, educate them. I think that my role as an educator always influences my music. I'm always trying to educate and do something with my music.
What's Song of Love?
Song of Love is an organization out of New York that they hire songwriters to write songs of love for children that are having illnesses that are maybe terminal, very bad illnesses that that need some hope and need some cheering up. And so the parents or providers for these children can request a song of love, and then these songwriters, we do it for free. We donate our time, and they look for people that can produce, write, and record all the music themselves to keep the cost down for the songwriter. And so I do all of that, and so I submitted my material and some examples, and they selected me, and I just got one the beginning of this month. And you usually have about 30 days to write this song of love. You get a sheet of paper that has the kids' likes, and maybe phrases about them, the people that are in their family that are special to them, and then anything they include in that sheet, you write those things into that song. And then sometimes they'll put down that they have a special preference of what style of music they like, so you try to write it in that style.
Wow.
And so I'm on my 10th one now, so it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. I've had a couple of those that have responded and given me messages of how well they love those songs. And it's a very rewarding process to do.
Well, that feedback is certainly important for the
Yes.
creativity part of it as well,
Yeah,
Randy.
yeah.
So how does music education benefit students? Why is it important, Randy?
I think it helps the students become more well-rounded. It gives them a lifelong activity they can do for a long, long time. I see all kinds of adults that still sing in church choirs, still sing in community choirs, playing community bands. So once they develop something like this, it's nice to have something they can do for a long time. The skills they learn from rehearsing and practicing an instrument or singing is something that they can take into their daily lives of learning, working at their job, just the whole way to work and work with each other as a group is as a thing they can use in all their different things they use in their life.
Who were your influences? You've been in music as long as I've known you, and it's always been a central part of your life. Who influenced you?
Well,
Who are your mentors?
Well, my parents, they always encouraged me to do music. They liked hearing the music that I would create and the music that I would play in different groups that I performed in. But I would say in high school, my high school band director, David Stewie, he was very influential in my decision to go into music. He had such a strong drive and passion for it, and it just seemed like he lived and breathed that music, and always had this drive to do the best that he could, and help the students become the best person, not only just the best they could do at their instrument, but become a good person. And so that was something that influenced me to get into music.
Well, that's what I love about you influential educators, is because you have that passion, that commitment, that drive, that enthusiasm, and that translates, I think, to the students, Randy.
It does, and it's very, very rewarding to see past students that have gone into music education that I've taught, and past students that have gone into doing more with music just outside of the school or outside of the community even, and taking it to a further level.
How did, talking about young people, how did you make your focus young people as opposed to adults, or, the creative process that might be on a commercial basis? How did that come about?
I had been writing music for a long time, and out of college, I was really into writing some instrumental pieces. I wrote some band pieces and some jazz band songs, and I enjoyed that and had some of my groups perform those. And then as I was teaching some different schools, I got into teaching some elementary music. And as I taught the elementary music, I found some of the songs, I don't know, they just weren't exciting for the kids, and it seemed like they weren't really getting into them too much. And I thought, I think I could write some songs that would help them learn this concept and maybe have more fun with the music. So I started writing some of my own music for those purposes. And kids were like, hey, I really like this. And then I had parents say, hey, the kids really like this song, you should go out and perform these. And I was like, well, I hadn't thought about that. And so I started to write songs that were more for me to go out and maybe perform. But the first songs that I started writing for children were more educational, and I think all my songs somewhat have some type of educational feel to them, but that's how I got into doing the children's music. And at first when I got into it, I thought it was just a pretty small little market. I thought I was doing something pretty unique, but the more I get into it, there's a lot of people that do children's music. It's a pretty competitive area.
Well, we're so lucky to have you in our midst, Randy, for the creative work you do and you bring to young people in fostering that music education. We really appreciate it. And congratulations again on the first and second place award.
Thank you.
A very tough competition in New York. The children's music songwriter, the singer-songwriter Randy Sauer, is our community connection.
Hi, I'm Brandon Cooley, and I am the Video Production Director at Eagle Marketing Solutions. We're a full-service production house. Service to me really is everything. I think it's very important that we show our clients that we really have their best interest in mind. Video is very engaging. It's really the best platform to tell your story. We pride ourselves on attention to detail, creative concepts, and fast turnaround. We're always working to find new ways to make our product better and to be able to just do what we can to help the client tell their story in the best way possible.
Eagle Communications is your complete business solution with options to fit any budget. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. Eagle Communications will build your personalized business plan. Call us at 877-61-EAGLE.
Welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. We appreciate you joining us, and thanks as always to the behind the camera work as well as editor and producer of our series, Brandon Cooley. We're in our studios with the Communications Director of Midwest Energy, Mike Morley, as we get an overview of Midwest Energy and some of the projects and programs that are offered. First, Mike, let's begin with the basics. A little about Midwest Energy, if you would.
You bet. Midwest Energy is a customer-owned electric and natural gas cooperative. We serve 40 counties in central and western Kansas, and we've got about 92,000 customers, 50,000 electric and 42,000 gas.
That's quite an operation. Right?
It's very spread out.
Tell me about the energy portfolio. Midwest Energy draws from a lot of energy sources, don't they?
Absolutely. We believe in kind of an all of the above, or a balanced portfolio. Which means we get a lot of our electricity from coal generation from the Jeffrey Energy Center in Topeka. We get about 25 to 30% of our electricity on a given day comes from wind. Roughly half of that comes from the Smoky Hill Wind Farm, which is north of I-70 as you're going to Salina. And then the other half comes from the Kingman Wind Farm, which is down in Kingman County, just opened up in early 2017. And then we also have a slice of solar, which I believe you're a participant in. The community solar array out in Colby, Kansas is a 1 megawatt array, and to this date is still the largest utility scale solar in the state of Kansas.
And it's a beautiful operation, I'll tell you.
It is a neat operation to see all those panels in the sun.
And besides that, a very productive operation too. We have been so pleased with our participation in it, where we see that bill coming down on a monthly basis based on the sunshine.
Absolutely. I also participate, and it's nice when you see, a $60 or $70 bill credit, in July or August during those long summer days. So it is a good asset.
And you mentioned wind. That portfolio of wind has been increasing by Midwest Energy over the years, hasn't it, Mark?
It has. We went from 50 megawatts a couple years ago to 107 today. And we're always on the lookout for a good opportunity to purchase wind if the economics make sense.
Let's talk about some of the consumer programs offered and the benefits. Why don't you start with the House Smart program?
Sure. House Smart is a program we started about 10 years ago. And it's an energy efficiency program that lets homeowners or renters or landlords make improvements to their property and pay that back on their energy bill. And I'll give you an example of how that works. Let's say you own a small house and the electric bill is $300 a month. That's very high for a small home. So what you would do is you would call Midwest Energy. We would send out a House Smart auditor. They would perform a whole house energy audit and they would make recommendations. If you increased your insulation, you might save this much. If you changed your HVAC to a more efficient unit, you might save this much. So then you decide which of those improvements you want to make. You pick the contractor, local contractor makes those upgrades, and then the cost of those upgrades are paid back on the savings. So your electric bill may stay at $300, but 100 of that every month might go to pay off that balance of the new air conditioning and the insulation. And
besides that, you're more comfortable in the summer and in the winter, Mike.
Absolutely, and of course that will pay off in a few years, and then you have the benefits of that for forever.
There's something where we can, as when we have our bill from Midwest Energy and pay it, that we can help other people who might not be able to afford energy savings. Customer Care, I believe it's called, is that right?
That is correct. Midwest Customers Care is an opt-in program where customers can call Midwest and say, hey, I'd like to add $1, $2, $5 to my monthly bill. And that goes into a fund called Midwest Customers Care, where folks that have a need, that are struggling in the winter to pay their energy bill, can call into the Salvation Army, and they go through a screening process, and they can receive a grant of up to $200 once a year to help them with their energy bills. Very popular program.
Another one that we certainly wanted to talk about are the CO detector, the carbon monoxide detectors, one of which an example you brought for us, Mike.
Absolutely. What I got here is a little carbon monoxide detector. This is made by Kidd, but first alert, there's several companies that make these. This is about $15 at Home Depot. And what this does is it checks for carbon monoxide in the air of the home. Carbon monoxide is the result of incomplete combustion, usually a furnace or a fireplace or something like that. Also running an engine in the garage, of course, would build up carbon monoxide as well. But it sets off an alarm just like a smoke detector if it senses a dangerous level of CO. There's several ways that you can accidentally get CO accumulation in your home. Number one is an improperly installed furnace. Another thing is birds like to build nests in those little crevices and those exhaust ports in the roof and on the sides of the house. So they can become blocked, and that CO has nowhere to go but back into the house. A third way, and we saw this in Waukene after the August hailstorms, was where the hailstones, were the size of softballs and larger, and it smashed the roof vents flat. And we had several incidents in early October where people were taken to the emergency room there in Waukene with CO poisoning.
Because it had blocked the CO2 escape, or the O2 escaping, CO2
exactly.
escaping.
That gas had nowhere to vent as it normally would, so it just backs up, comes into the home, and there was a couple very close calls where people felt very dizzy. They would pass out very quickly, and fortunately there were other people in the home that were able to get them out into fresh air, call the ambulance, and get them the help they needed.
And Mike, the reason those CO detectors are so important is because CO is deadly.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is really dangerous.
Every year we lose about 700 people in the United States. We lost a few here in Hayes recently, unfortunately, due to CO. It's colorless, it's odorless, you have no idea it's there until suddenly you're dizzy, and at that point, if you don't get out of the house immediately, you pass out and you die.
And again, to stress the point you made, it is undetectable by humans in the house.
Undetectable by humans. The only way to detect CO is with one of these CO detectors. I recommend 2 in every home, one down in the basement where the furnace is, and then have one upstairs in the living area as well.
And it will sound an alarm if the level rises above an accepted level in the home.
That is correct, it sure does.
Tell me about some scams. I understand Midwest Energy customers have been involved in some phone calls.
A lot of our customers over the past 2 years have been getting calls from scammers that say they're Midwest Energy and that I'm sending a tech over to your house to disconnect in 30 or 45 minutes unless you make payment with a money pack card. And this is a money pack card. It's a little prepaid money card that you can pick up at Dillon's or Pilot or Quick Shop, or just about any store sells these. And you can load up to $500 on the money pack card. The way the scam works is they'll call and they'll say you owe $500 or $1,000 or whatever the case is on your energy bill. They'll tell you where to purchase this card. The victim goes and purchases the card, they scratch off the back, they read the number back to the scammer, and then the scammer has access to those funds. They can load it onto a debit card or convert it into Bitcoin. All different kinds of things can happen, and of course the victim is out the money.
And once they get that number, they've got the card.
They've got the card and the
money.
cash that's on it.
Oh my.
So it's an insidious scam. It goes on nationwide. Just in the state of Kansas last year, we know of at least $41,000 that were taken from customers. In Midwest, we had a business here in Hayes that lost $1,500 to this scam last year. We had a elderly resident in Waukene that lost $385. We had a business in Colby that lost $600. So and those are just the ones we know about. You know, it's estimated that 85% of scam victims never report it because they're embarrassed or feel ashamed that they fell for something like this. But these scammers are very good at convincing people that they're Midwest Energy. I've called them back once we learn about the scam. I've called them and posed as a customer, and they are very convincing and very aggressive in getting people to turn over their money.
But just to be clear, Midwest Energy does not make phone calls threatening to shut off service.
That's correct. If you're facing some kind of disconnection for non-payment, you'll receive notification of that via letter twice before we would make a phone call. The other thing to be wary of is we don't take money pack cards as a form of payment. We don't care how you pay, if you pay by cash, check, bank draft, whatever, but we do not accept money pack cards. So anybody who ever calls and demands that the only way you can pay is with money pack, it's a scam. Please call us and let us know.
Let's talk about some winter safety issues, electrical, gas, and so forth. Talk about electrical, first of all, with some folks using space heaters.
Absolutely. Space heaters are wonderful. They're a great way to heat like a bathroom or a small room to kind of top it off with heat. But there are some safety considerations. The first is to make sure that you don't pile blankets or combustibles on or near them. That's a common cause of house fires. The second thing is not to overload extension cords. If you have a space heater plugged into the wall, it should be the only thing plugged into that socket in the wall or the only thing plugged into that extension cord. You shouldn't have 2 or 3 space heaters running off one little cord because that can overload it and start a fire.
And in addition to that, of course, that means keeping children and pets and other combustibles away from that space heater because it is a source of a fire.
It is, and you know, you can burn little fingers or dog noses or paws and things like that. So. Nobody wants that to happen, so just keep an eye.
And you mentioned extension cords on space heaters. I think maybe something appropriate to mention is to make sure if you use an extension cord that it's appropriate for the wattage of the space heater.
Absolutely. Most space heaters that you buy at Home Depot or at Ace Hardware, they're going to draw 1,500 watts, which is a lot of energy. And you want to make sure that you have a little bit thicker cord that, like you say, can handle that kind of wattage. You don't want to use the thinnest household cord because that runs the risk of an overload.
Tell me about, we talked a bit about the carbon monoxide dangers. Once again, those very inexpensive carbon monoxide detectors available locally at stores for about $15, you say. Upstairs and downstairs, always a good to have 2 of them at least.
Absolutely. We had a saying in the Navy with diving, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. And if you have 2 detectors, if one of them's bad or the battery's died or something like that, at least always having a backup gives you that extra measure of protection.
You know, before you had your current comments note set out about the roof vent checks, I had not even thought about that. Good idea to kind of glance up at the roof vent once in a while, huh?
Absolutely. Anytime we have one of those rolling hailstorms come through, or if you have tree branches that come down on your house, go out and take a look to see if those vents have become dislodged or damaged. Another thing, another type of venting we see here in Hayes, like up in Northwest Hayes in the newer construction areas, is the furnace vents will actually vent out the back of the house instead of out the roof. So you got to be careful that you don't put trash cans or stacked tires or a lawnmower or anything like that up against that vent, because of course if you do, snow will drift around it, cover that vent up, and now you've got a problem.
Good point. Any projects for 2018 that you could alert us to, Mike?
There's a couple. We've got a lot of construction projects that were kind of winding down on about a decade of heavy construction. We had a lot of projects, a lot of transmission projects, and a lot of just rebuilds and upgrades that we finally kind of crested that wave, and now we're on the downhill side of a lot of construction projects. So that's a bit of relief for the linemen especially that have been out there you know, doing a lot of that work for us. But another project that would be interesting to consumers is the automated meter project. Later this year, you'll be able to go online to a website through the Midwest Energy website, take a look at your energy usage in 1 hour increments. So if you get a bill that seems a little high, you'll be able to log in and see over the past month or 2 months or whatever you want to look at, how much energy you used in hourly increments. And that usually will answer the question of how was the bill so high? Well, you might have had the cousins over in town, so you had an extra 5 people in the house, a lot more lights and you know, water heater and things like that running.
Well, the kids came home from school.
Kids come home from school and all of a sudden your bill spikes. So we think that's going to be a pretty powerful tool for people to look and kind of self-analyze their energy usage and make decisions on how and when to use energy a little bit smarter to get their bill down.
Got about half a minute left, and that's enough time to say thanks to all the guys that are out there on the lines and doing the work in the snow, the rain, the sleet, the cold, the ice, and all of that. They do a fantastic job for us.
I tell you, linemen are truly a special breed of people, and they call them storm soldiers, and I think that's exactly what they are, because you know, when everybody else is huddling down inside the house and you know, hunkering in for a cold 2 or 3 days, they're out there working 18 and 20 hours in some unbelievable conditions. You know, mud that's up to your ankles. They're towing their vehicles through to do their work with caterpillars and bulldozers. Just an amazing group of people, and you know, I'm proud as can be to work with them every day.
A great company, and we're happy to have Midwest Energy as a part of our community, believe me.
Thank you, Mike. Proud to serve.
Communications Director for Midwest Energy, Mike Morley, our Community Connection.
For over 60 years, Eagle Communications has been the leader in value and service. And over that time, our specialized teams have been helping businesses grow because Eagle is your one-stop for business solutions. We can provide the latest in hosted phone, reliable fiber internet, IT support, business compliance, and network planning. Plus, we offer affordable advertising on television, radio, and digital platforms. Call our employee owners today and let us serve you. Eagle Communications, our community connected.